Hi, I'm Meta Spencer. Today we're going to have a conversation about an issue that I think everybody in the world should be concerned about. It's a human rights issue, but somehow it doesn't get the kind of attention that it deserves from people who are very otherwise very concerned about the war in Ukraine and other issues that are relevant. And that is that some people who have decided they did not want to participate in the war, some Russian soldiers have simply walked away and said, nothing doing. I will not engage in this killing of Ukrainians. And then they have a hell of a time. They can't get papers. They can't go where they want. They are not treated as allies and friendly people, but as all kinds of suspicious characters, which I think is just awful. Today we have three new people, and one friend who's been with me before, so he's not so new. And his name is Misha, Mikhail Elizbarashvili. And Barashvili, is it?
Yes, I'm from Georgia. My full name is Mikhail Elizbarashvili. Yes, and I'm actively working in field of assistance to conscientious objectors.
Yes, that's
doing it with several organizations. Sometimes I'm in Georgia, sometimes in Brussels, sometimes in Prague. It depends. Yes.
Well, thank you. I mean, we've talked a little bit in the past, but we aren't really well acquainted yet. And I have two other guests that I am very excited to welcome. Jurgen is in Germany. I'm going to ask them to introduce themselves. So, Jurgen, let's start with you. So, Jurgen, who are you?
Yeah, I'm Jurgen Menzels. I'm based in Germany. I was working with Act for Transformation, what is a non-profit organization in the field of peace work and volunteer work. And we have an office in Georgia. And when the war broke out, the Ukrainian war, I met Misha there, and we were thinking, what can we do on one way for the Ukrainian refugee? But we also saw that a lot of conscientious objectors are passing to South Caucasus. And we are both Quakers, and we were looking to build up a kind of support network in Georgia for counseling, give them some support to continue where they want to go and safe places when conscientious objectors or deserters are coming to Germany. We support them in getting the visa here or go through this process. I am also a peace worker and a trainer for peace working. So I was working in Sudan in the civil peace service program for some years officially. And we have in Georgia and Armenia, Azerbaijan, some peace projects with youth.
I'm glad that you have put me in touch with Dimitrii, and I understand that he's a soldier who's simply deserted from the Russian army because he did not want to go kill the Ukrainians.
Hello, my name is Dimitrii. I'm a former Russian officer, and I left Russia because of war, because I don't want to kill anyone and don't want to be killed. So I had to make a decision to go to war or desert, and I decided to desert, and I moved to Georgia firstly, where I met Mikhail and Jurgen. And after that, I moved to Argentina, where I applied for refugee, and now my process is pending. But
your application for citizenship or for permanent residence in Argentina is still being determined now. Is that it?
Yes, it is. For now, I just have temporary documents, and they didn't made any decision. So I, for now, like a person without any official documents here.
I have heard that Argentina is one of the few places where Russians can go without difficulty. So let's talk about your problem in getting papers. I assume you maybe had other places you might have preferred to go, but tell me about your story, about how you got out, how you escaped, and then I want to know more about the legal problems that you have getting papers to go where you want to live.
So, as I said, I was a military officer in Russian army, and when I went to university, I signed a contract with the Ministry of Defense in return for a student hostel. This contract forced me to serve for 3 years, but I didn't see any problem that time. So I finished the university and had to go to military unit. The war already began, but I still had to serve for 3 years.
I have the belief that that it is normal for all young men when they get to a certain age to go into the army for a year, and that is called the draft. Is that right? And you
Yeah.
must. It's normal for every young man to serve anyway for a year, but that my guess is that you had to serve longer because of your contract to get housing at the university. Is that the story?
I served during my draft as well previously, but after university, I had to serve for 3 years more as an officer because of the contract terms.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So is tell me how they differ. Are they? I assume the drafted soldiers are not trained to do very skilled things, but what do they have young men do when they're spending a year in the military? All of them.
Basically, drafted soldiers, they are privates and they serve there as a cheap labor. Mostly they maintain the units, like cutting the grass or doing some stuff. Sometimes they allowed to repair some machines. There are units for mechanics there, but most of time they just maintain the unit and serve and help the officers. So they not trained in almost any way. So it's just, as I said, cheap labor.
Yeah.
But when you serve as an officer, for example, is me, during the university years, you have some special training. You learn more about how your machines work, how to operate them, and so on. So, yeah, of course, officers know much more than regular privates.
But it doesn't sound as if you're talking about teaching these young officers military strategy or things about how you would command a whole big unit of a military unit. Is that right? You're mostly learning technical, mechanical things. Is that
Yeah, I understand. This is in my case because I am military engineer, but not. Of course, I have some basic understanding of how to give orders and so on. But my main work as a military would be maintain the anti-missile systems and operate them. So it is not any private doesn't allow to even be there in the anti-missile systems. So we need to learn some special knowledges. They are sometimes secret. And in my case, I mostly was focused on operating heavy machines, but not giving some orders and so on.
And your background as an engineer was already in mechanical engineering or something of that kind, right?
So I have two graduations. So as a citizen, I am a design engineer of gas turbines, aircraft engines. But as a military, I am an operator of anti-missile system.
Okay, well, so how did you get out? And was it risky?
Mm-hmm. So in September 22, there was issued a decree forbidding officers to resign. From my first day in army, I tried to resign, and I had to be dismissed in about 6 months. But this decree forbidding me to resign, and suddenly I became undesirable for my unit leaders. They saw that I don't want to serve and I don't support official way of managing the war. So they wanted to get rid of me. So yeah, and in 2023, in February 2023, my commanders started looking for officers to send them to war, and I was faced with the choice to desert or to go to war. So I decided to desert, of course. I contacted Go by Forest organization and asked them how can I escape the country being an officer. There is a problem for military in Russia. People in general can have two kind of passports. One is internal passport, and second one is international passport. So almost all the officers should give their international passports to their superiors. But because I was trying to resign, they forget about getting my passport, international passport, and I had it on my hands.
They confiscated it and didn't let you have one, or what?
No, they don't confiscate it. They store it in some offices. So technically, you can get it back if they give you permission for that. But you don't have this passport on your hands. Yeah, but they forget getting my passport, and I had it on my hands, and I got lucky just. So, and this allowed me to move to Georgia because we Russians, cannot go to Georgia without international passport. So I had international passport, and the organization Go by Forest provided me with the how to call it pass, how to get out of the Russia, and firstly I flew to Moscow, from there to Belarus, and after that to Kazakhstan and to Georgia. So there were 2 flights. Yeah. So and I moved to Georgia. So it was not really difficult because of the help the organization, but it was scary for sure. I thought that my superiors can find that I'm not there, not in the unit. But I prepared a bit. I asked my commanders to give me some free days off, and this thing gave me some time to do that.
Okay.
Yeah, but anyway, when I flew to Kazakhstan, it was the middle of my way. I contacted one guy, and he said that they already know that I left the country, and they tried to find me and to get me back. It was very scary because I needed to move one more step to go from Kazakhstan to Georgia. So yeah, but finally I moved to Georgia, arrived to Georgia, and there I felt a bit more safely there.
As I understand it, the Georgian new Georgia Dream government is much more cozy with the Russian regime now. Does that affect the status or the security of people like yourself who are there by really the generosity or the tolerance of the Russian of the Georgian government? Do you feel less secure than would have been the case before this election that brought in a new regime?
In Georgia, I felt pretty secure, but I understood that their regime is cozy to Russians, and I've heard some stories when special forces kidnapped some people from Georgia, but I'm not a big person for them, and I understood that nobody will do something with me. But still, I was quiet there and was looking for another country where I could start legalization process, because in Georgia I could not apply for. Technically, I could, but it wouldn't help me at all. I could not apply for refugee status, and I wanted firstly to move to, for example, European Union and try to apply for refugee there. But when I arrived to Georgia airport, one of the Georgian airports, when border control officer saw my passport, they took me away and asked me a lot of questions about who I am, what I want to do, what my next steps, and so on and so on. So they didn't even check my passport or something. They just see that it is Russian citizen, and we need to check you more.
Yeah. Okay, that's pretty consistent with what I've heard from other sources. Yes,
I can add a little bit from our side. So when we try to support conscientious objectors or deserters in Caucasus region, the question is also where are they coming from, and if they are trustful people or not. And as Dimitrii said, he was supported by a Russian organization helping crossing border. We know about them and they know about us. So our role is then, when this deserter arriving in Georgia or in Armenia, we try to support them there to find out the best way, if they want to stay or if they want to continue in another country, or as Dimitrii said, try to get visa to Europe, or in my case, especially also to Germany. What we are sometimes doing is then we were writing recommendation letters for the embassies for the visa process to ask for humanitarian visa to enter European country. But for soldiers, it was very difficult to get it. So German embassy in this time only gave visas for human rights protectors, lawyer or journalists or opposite people, and not to conscientious objector. And this made it very difficult for them to see it as an option to go to Europe. And when Dimitrii decided he wanted to go to Argentina as a safe country, we try to support him in some ways to go there, because it was much easier from Georgia to go this way.
Mm-hmm.
And I can tell you a story from some deserter in 2024. They decided to go by their own way to the Balkan route to Europe, because the embassies were not working on the visas. And then we also stayed in contact with them, what route they are going, and when they entered Europe, to support them to go to the next refugee camp, for example, in Germany, and go for the register process and ask for the status as a refugee or an asylum. But asylum in Germany they will not get. If they are lucky, they can get a refugee status. And we had a group of about 6.
What's the difference? I would have thought asylum and refugee status are the same.
Yeah, no, it's not the same, because if you got asylum, it's for your whole life normally. And so then you can stay in Germany so long as you want. The refugee status is normally, for example, for 3 years, and then it would be extended again. But when you have these refugee status, the good thing is you can start for looking for a job, you can look for own houses, but as long as you are in the process, you are in the refugee camp in Germany. You have no right to work, you have no right to earn money, to look for your own place. You have to stay on the place where the government say you have to stay there.
Okay, now I didn't know that there were refugee camps, frankly. Are there refugee camps in all the European countries, or do
Yes.
people who go there just try to find an apartment and settle in?
They are not in all countries. For example, most of these deserters ended in Croatia. They have also refugee camps in Croatia. You have to be registered, but you must not stay in the camp. You can also stay in Croatia where you want, but you will not get any government support.
Hmm.
Yeah. So it's somehow.
But the refugee camps are supported. They have food and medical and all things.
Yeah, but it's not so comfortable. It could be that you are living together with other people in the flat, and the money is not really a lot. It's only pocket money.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, but in the refugee camp, the refugee camps are not primarily for military deserters. They might
No.
be families or
Yeah.
even children. Is that possible in those cases?
Yeah, they are all refugees there from different countries. They are mixed, and the situation is, in some camps it's not so easy, because sometimes there are people who where they have a lot of conflict with each other also. Yeah.
Oh, mm-hmm. Wow, that would be
So
dramatic.
we try to support also here. We have a big refugee camp nearby, where we give sometimes some seminars or some activities with our volunteers to make the life not so boring in the camp. Because what should they do? They are sitting around, have nothing to do. Yeah, only using
Yeah. Are they free to come and go? Can they go out for the
Yeah.
day and then come? So
Yeah.
it's not like being in jail. It's or is
Yeah, they can go out, but they must stay there. If they are not staying there for some days, they will lose the money support.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I interrupted you, but you were I drew you off. I think it's interesting to know, but continue.
Yeah. Yeah. In the situation, let me say, for example, there are around 6,500 Russian conscientious objectors or deserters were asking for asylum in Germany.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in Germany. the situation is that only around 2% got asylum or a refugee status. So up to now, only around 350 have got a status to stay in Germany. Most of the others were sent back to the entrance country in Europe, or they went somewhere. Yeah. And this is really a very hard situation for deserters and conscientious objectors, also in Germany or Europe, that they have the feeling they are not welcome, they are not getting a stable status, they are always afraid to be sent back somewhere. Officially, it's not allowed to send them to Russia, because German government said Russian is a difficult country, so it's not allowed to send them there. But for example, if they were sent to Serbia or some other countries who are sending back them to Russia, it's also bad for them. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Now, when I have talked to friends, and these are people who are really warm-hearted, kind, peace-loving friends, some of them say things like, well, I don't really think we should let these people in because they might be spies. They might be sent here. And I think, well, that is such a weird idea to me. I guess it's possible, but is it realistic to say that the Russian government might be sending spies in such a route by having them pretend to be deserters when they're really working for the regime? Yeah.
It is a risk. It is also a risk for our work. And because of this, we try to check if they are a real deserter or not, for example. Because if somebody is using the network to come out as a spy, they have maybe two goals. One goal is to find out who is involved and bring in danger the network and the people who are working inside. Or they use it, for example, to get in European countries or other countries really as a spy in general. So for us, it's important that we also try to check, and this is some important work what Misha was doing also, because he is Russian speaking, he could read the documents, and it was for us, it was important that we are working in the network. And we had cases that people were asking for support, and we were not sure if the story is true or not true. And then we say, okay, if we are not sure, let us be in distance, because we don't want to have the risk for the others who get the support. Yeah.
Well, realistically, do you know of any cases that that you really believe they were going to be spies? I think it's a weird idea. If they were going to send spies, there's simply so many other ways they could get them.
Yeah.
They wouldn't. Why would they do that? You know?
Yeah, I would say the real and dangerous spies in Germany from Russian side, they are not coming as a deserter or conscientious objector. They are more coming with working visas and diplomatic things. So they are using other ways normally, because they don't want to be in a refugee camp and can do nothing, for example. Yeah, they use other ways.
Well, also, we sort of know that diplomatic people are, if legally they're diplomats, but they're all spies in a way.
Yeah.
So what the hell, Why not just bring them in that way and let them do whatever they're going to do? And
but we also have to say that the American embassy also have a lot of stuff from the CIA. Yeah, so it's the same system.
Sure. Yeah, I know. Yeah. I don't even have anything against spies. I remember being at at the United Nations with a friend named William Epstein, who was a Canadian who'd worked at the UN since actually before it had existed at the UN. It actually he was employed before, during the founding, and so he was a very experienced person. We were in that big United Nations cafeteria for lunch together, and I looked around and I said, "I bet there are a lot of spies in this room." And he said, "Yeah, of course." And he says, "The thing too, it's a lot better to have people know what each other are doing than it is to keep them in mystery. So spies are, on the whole, beneficial to society." And ever since then, that changed my attitude completely. I thought, well, okay, if you want to come and check me out, well, come ahead. Whatever you want to know about me, I'll tell you, and I expect I'll tell you some things that might surprise my own countrymen. Okay, there you go. So maybe I would be a colluder with spies if I had the opportunity, but I don't really think I've had that chance. Dimitri, you're in Argentina. Now that must be quite a change. I bet they don't teach much Spanish in Russia. I bet when you were studying engineering, you weren't taking courses in Spanish, were you?
Sure, I didn't know even English before
Oh,
escaping Russia. No, I know basics, but I could not speak at all. So in Georgia, when I stayed in Georgia for about 8 months, I learned programming because I had to work internationally from any place. And also I learned English because when you work internationally, you have to speak English. But yeah, when I decided to move to Argentina, I understood that I had to learn Spanish as well. And here they have some free courses for refugee. So I completed A1 course, and in March, I believe they will start A2, and so yeah, I also will attend these courses. So yeah, it's difficult for me to learn languages, but small steps, and I will learn Spanish as well. I believe.
Oh, so you would not. How long have you been there now?
Uh, in Argentina, I stay here 2 years already.
Okay, and you say you don't know Spanish yet?
No, so I work from home. I don't need to go outside pretty much. And I have some Russian-speaking friends here, so there's now it's not really necessary to know Spanish on high level here for me personally.
I think.
But how will you find a girlfriend in Argentina, Dimitri?
I was trying to date local girl here, but in English it's difficult. So yeah.
Okay.
No Argentinian girls speak English or Russian. Is that it?
There are some communities who speak English. There are some expats here. I attend their meetings from time to time. Yeah, and there are like parties at evening where people try to share their experience in different languages. For example, if someone knows Argentinian, I know English, and we can try to communicate somehow.
My impression is that Spanish is one of the easier languages to learn. I think I took Spanish in grade 8 and 9 or something. I'm also like you, definitely not talented in learning languages though. So I don't speak any foreign language, and that's a shame. Anyway, Misha, what is your role in all this? Were you engaged in helping Dimitrii immigrate to Argentina?
Actually, no, I didn't help him with immigration, but when I met him in Georgia, we have provided different kind of consultations, assistance, advices, and so on. But he had chosen Argentina on his own.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, but then there was some kind of financial assistance from Jurgen's organization, partial financial assistance to get there.
Mm-hmm. Good. I wonder if you had tried to come to Canada, what do you think your odds would have been? I'm not, I should know that answer, but I have no idea really. I would say, from my guess, that it's not much
Yeah,
easier than it would be to go to the EU. My impression is the EU is pretty standard, that most European countries have similar admission requirements. Is that the case?
but Misha, you can tell about the story of the Ukrainian who tried to emigrate to Canada, what took a long time for him.
Yes, yeah, there are some Ukrainians who used to move to Canada, and we had the beneficiaries, one family where husband was Ukrainian and his wife was from Russia, and their son was a Russian citizen, and they applied for immigration visa. It was about 3 years back, even a bit longer when the war started, and actually it took them almost 1 year to get a permission to emigrate to Canada using this special program for Ukrainian citizens, because his wife was a Russian citizen and his son was also. But they were allowed to get in, and now they live in Canada, but it took them almost 1 year for that, when usually it takes them 1, maybe 2 months.
Well, I did help.
But
I don't want to say that I've helped much, but I did have a little bit of a role in helping a Russian deserter who did come to Canada, and I think is doing well. He was an athlete, and I think he was in Kazakhstan when I was put in touch with him. And so he'd applied for immigration to Canada, and nothing was happening. It had been a year, 2, 3 years, something like that. And then I decided that I would see if I could pull some strings. So I got in touch with a man I sort of know who was maybe Canada's most famous athlete in his youth. He's an old man now, but because of his stature as a famous Canadian athlete, Olympian, he was able to write a letter saying that this man's skills should be recognized as valuable to Canada. And of course, he couldn't testify whether he was a spy or not. But it worked. Somehow that, I think, actually made some difference. So the man got in, and as far as I know, is doing well. So it's not impossible to get into Canada, but I do know that in every country there's much less enthusiasm about welcoming deserters. It may be that Canada, like everybody else, thinks that there is a kind of a moral thing. If your country calls you, you should be ready to go and serve no matter what. I don't know how many Canadians think that, but I certainly myself, my heart is with conscientious objectors. Now, in fact, my husband was a conscientious objector for, I don't know, a few minutes. I think they got him eventually, but something happened. I don't remember the story, but at that time, I was told that to be a real conscientious objector, you had to be opposed to war completely, every war, no matter where. Whereas most people who are deserters say, well, if there were a real attack on my country, I would fight for my country. But in this case, it's not an attack on my country. It's not a legitimate war, and therefore, in this particular war, I will not serve. But that is enough. It would be enough in the U.S., and I suppose it depends on other countries. It would be enough to mean that they could not get status as a conscientious objector. Am I right, Jurgen? You know the law more than most people, I think.
Officially, the law says, the international law, if you decide not to fight, you have the right to get the status of a conscientious objector. Doesn't matter if you know it before you conscript it, or if you see it when you are in the army, and especially also when a war breaks out and you see the worst situation in wartime. Everybody has the right to say to go out of the army. We have to say that officially in Russia, the law is still existing, yeah. But as Dimitrii say, there are a lot of obstacles. They are pushing, they're forcing people to stay. When we are looking to Ukraine lifted the right for getting conscientious objector in the wartime, and this is against the international law. So in the moment, officially, if you are in Ukraine and want to be a conscientious objector, it's not possible. The people have to flee, the people have to go through the border somehow, and this is also what we have to see. It doesn't matter if you are fighting to support your country or if you attack other countries. The right to be conscientious objector doesn't matter how the situation is.
That's the international law now, really?
Yeah, this is the international law, yeah. And it's not fulfilled in the moment. Yeah?
A peace researcher that I once knew told me that Lenin had made retained a rule that it was okay to be a conscientious objector. Is that the case?
I don't know.
I was maybe Dimitrii knows, because I was so surprised. This was a historian who said that it was possible, and that Lenin accepted conscientious objection as a legitimate, valid reason for not serving in the military. Do you know about that?
No, sorry, I don't know.
I think you are right.
I don't know.
I also heard about it. But Lenin was in power for such a short period of time, so it didn't almost affect the situation in his country. And then he had that very serious sickness, and then he died, and Stalin came to power, and Stalin didn't care about this law.
Stalin's scruples were of a different order.
Yes, he was a real dictator.
Yeah, right.
But Lenin was also dictator, but he was in power only for a few years.
Well, Dimitrii, let me go back to you, because I want to know how well you are able to stay in touch with old friends and relatives in Russia. Do you maintain contact? And you keep your face blocked here, so it must mean that you feel, even living in Argentina, you're not 100% safe. Explain your thinking about your anonymity.
So I don't have any contacts with Russians right now, even with my parents or friends. Because it can cause problem for them or for me. For example, for them, if we will communicate, government can decide that they try to help a person who have a criminal case in Russia. And for me, they can find out where I am and try to request me from the government of current country So I don't want them to know where I am. I mean, I don't want government to know where I am. To create some possible problems. And since I still have pending process in the refugee center, I'm not feel 100% sure that everything is fine and I'm safe. No, I'm still a person without any documents. And I cannot renew my Russian passport because I cannot go to embassy. And for now, I have expired passport, and only the documents I have is temporary documents of Refugee Center of Argentina. So yeah, I feel safe here, but not safe enough to contacting my parents, for example.
Okay, now let's see the refugee camp there. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, Jurgen.
Yeah, I think he is doing well in this case. We have one deserter here in Germany. He is in contact with his family, and he was giving interview with his full name about his case, and it took some days only, 4 or 5 days. Then he got a phone call from Russia, and they put him under pressure, and they put the family under pressure. And it was creating a really hard psychology situation for the deserter who felt for the family who is still in Russia, because they put pressure to them. So Dimitrii is doing well in this case, because the Russian system is horrible on this point. Yeah.
Would you expect that in general other people would have the same problem as the man you just mentioned, that if they talk too much about their family, that there would be pressure? Or is this a unique situation?
No, it's a kind of strategy to put pressure on the people and make them afraid. Yeah. So this is the risk what they have. Yeah.
They have to expect that that's what will happen. Now, Dimitrii, you're in this refugee camp, or I don't know, how much are you in the refugee camp and how much are you?
No. There is no refugee camps here in Argentina. Any refugee who applied for help don't get any government support here. They give you just temporary document that allows you to rent a flat, to work, to have a bank account or something, and you're almost like citizen, but with some restrictions. But you don't get any government support here, as for example in Germany. So I rent a flat. I work as a software developer right now from my home, and yeah, this is how I live.
Well, brilliant. I mean, you had foresight getting trained in something that you could get work in. Not everybody would be able to do that, I expect. Yeah. Now, are you in Argentina? I understand lots of Russians have gone there, and you have a community of Russian expats, I suppose. But I don't hear of Argentina as a place where the people from Venezuela have fled, or any of the other countries that are creating refugees. Are there any Latin American refugees there in whatever city you're staying in?
Yeah, that's true. The most part of refugees here in Argentina are Latin Americans from different countries, and Russians and Ukrainians are a very small part of the total number of refugees here. And after Milei became a president, Russian community got shrinked, and a lot of them moved to Brasilia, to other Latin American countries. But still, yeah, some people with hopeless cases like mine still stay here because they don't have any other options. For example, I cannot even move outside because I don't have international passport anymore. Mine is expired.
All three of you will know of other cases of deserters who were in his situation at the outset, were looking for a place to go. How do they go about looking for a country that will accept them? I guess you're both of Jurgen and Misha. You're working for organizations that probably have pretty good lists of countries, and you know what to tell people about where they should apply or something of that kind. Is that the case? I was hearing, for example, a couple of years ago that Thailand, a lot of Russians were going to Thailand, but then they got in trouble because they didn't behave well.
I think Misha can answer. He has the better overview on that.
Okay, yeah, Misha.
It's a very good question, but it's difficult to answer this question because everything changed so quickly in the world and especially in the European Union. So it's difficult to say what country will accept a refugee in such a situation, conscientious objector within the European Union. Probably none of those countries want to accept them. And in such a situation, it's easier to stay, for example, in Armenia or Georgia if you have international passport and wait until war is ended.
Mm-hmm. And then go back. But a lot of people don't want to go back or feel that they never will be free to go back.
Yes, if you can go back, then go back. But if you can't go back, then I think probably the best way would be Argentina.
Mm-hmm.
Because there are so many obstacles for them to receive a refugee status or asylum in the European Union that there is a very, very small chance that conscientious objector who applied for it there will get it. Maybe 5%. Chances are not higher than 5%, I think.
I've heard that, and it puzzles me because it is so, to my mind, it's such an irrational point of view for the Europeans or even North American countries to take about these people. I actually had a conversation just a few days ago with a peace worker living in Kyiv. He's a Russian, but he's emigrated to Kyiv even well before the war. And he reminded me of something. In fact, he told me something I didn't know. It was brand new to me. That at the end of World War II, there were lots of people who had been, Germans, I suppose mostly, who fled to the UK, and they had a choice of whether to go to Russia or to UK. They could, or it wasn't even after the war. I think it was during the war, and people very much preferred to go to the UK because they would be treated well, whereas they feared to go to Russia, and therefore there was a great imbalance in the number of people who went in different directions. Now, this said clearly, loudly, plainly, that a country that welcomes and treats deserters or immigrants or refugees generously and with respect is going to do much better than a country that does not. And one would think they would take that message to heart and use it right now to try to reach out to people inside Russia as well as deserters, but not only deserters. Definitely Russian people do not have sufficient contact with the outside. They're suspicious for good reason of Western countries and feel, that they're treated with hostility. Whereas, if we would make a concerted effort to maintain or establish or do something to keep good contact with ordinary Russians, it's going to change the balance in very favorably. And in fact, to my mind, really, if there's going to be a change of regime in Russia, it will happen internally because of some sort of opposition to Putin or to his plans. And we could be cultivating the grounds for that by courting Russians and trying to influence public opinion in Russia. And they're not doing that at all. Am I correct? Please, I'll listen to anybody who has an opinion on that.
No, I have knowledge. I would say Germany in general is a good place for Russians. We have a big Russian community in Berlin because the German have special friendships in the past to Russian civil society and to culture and politicians. So there was a growing and is a growing community of Russians in Germany, and they are somehow welcomed, and supported, and this is good because we have to think what happened after the war, how can we support to build up communication, democracy, human rights issues. So having this in mind and not see only this dictatorship, what it is in the moment. The critical point, what we discussed today, is that we don't give and don't see conscientious objector or deserter also as a part of this critical Russian society who need the support from us. So in general, I would say Germany is a good place for them, and that there's also a good Russian community in London, for example. So there are some places where people don't exclude them, and politicians don't exclude them, because we are a human being. We have to look to the future, and the future to build up the peace means that it means also the Russian society be part of the world society in general. And I would say, Dimitrii, when you don't have a passport in the moment, you are a world citizen on the end. It does not mean that you are nobody. You are a world citizen, and you are important citizen for all of us. Thank you.
Absolutely, yes. Well, our time is up, but I want to give my special gratitude to Dimitrii for your courage in doing exactly the moral thing. And I know that was not an easy decision. You definitely knew that you were in for trouble. It was not going to be easy to do. And bless your heart for going ahead and taking that stand. It's a wonderful and encouraging thing to see people behave morally under when they're in duress. Yes. So good luck to you. Good wishes to you. And good luck to both of you, Jurgen and Misha, for the kind of assistance that you're giving to these people, because it's God's work. It's a very important thing that you're doing to defend human rights, even when people who should know better are kind of oblivious. So thank you all three of you for being with me today, and Godspeed. Hope you all do well. Bye.
Thank you.